Us today. I'm Christina Daulton.
And I am Belen Hurle. Welcome.
And we represent the National Human Genome Research Institute, which is part of the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland, the world's largest biomedical federal research agency. I'm speaking to you from my home in Washington, D.C., and Belen is speaking to you from her home in Rockville, Maryland. We are joined today virtually by our fabulous colleagues, Tada Vargas, an Indigenous scientist, Tribal College graduate, and representative of the Tribal College Consortium on Genomics training. Tada will be speaking to you from her home in Rapid City, South Dakota. And we are also joined by Christopher Williams, the STEM education specialist from the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. Chris will be talking to you from his home in Washington, D.C. Now, before we begin today, a couple of things. Today is May 4th. For all the Star Wars fans out there, may the 4th be with you. And also, it is my co-presenter and great colleague, Belen Hurle's milestone birthday. So please wish her a happy birthday. Also, last but not least, this presentation and this week kicks off Teacher Appreciation Week. Hello to all the educators who are joining us today. We thank you for what you do every day for our students. Even more importantly now than ever, teachers across this nation are the MVPs right now. So we thank you for what you are doing. We hope that this presentation provides a little inspiration for you today, as well as provide you with some resources that you might want to incorporate in your classroom. So this presentation was originally going to be presented at the South by Southwest EDU conference in Austin, Texas this past March. However, like many other large gatherings, it had to be canceled. We are very grateful to NHGRI's communications team, who was able to bring our presentation out into the world for all of you to experience today. Some logistics. So Belen and I will give our presentation, followed by Tada and then Chris. But we've reserved 15 to 20 minutes at the end to answer any questions that you may have. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, please put your questions or comments into the comment section. If you're watching on Genome TV, please put your comments into the chat function. And our communications team with the magic of technology will get those questions over to us at the end. All right, so let's get started. Today, all four of us are going to talk about the importance of genomics education and cutting-edge technology having a space in all classrooms, not just the most privileged, not just the most resourced, and how we're individually working and collaborating towards this social justice goal. Now, Belen and I are going to talk about our NHGRI short course in genomics. So at our institute, one of the ways that we create and sustain a space for genomics is through our annual summer short course in genomics. And Belen and I will go into the details of who the course is for, how do you apply, the content, the faculty. But we wanted to start with what we feel are the three things that we feel create and sustain a space for genomics through our short course. Number one, the content that teachers receive during our course must reach all students and communities. And what we mean is after the teacher leaves the course, we don't expect that content to just sit in their notebook or on their laptop computer. We expect that it has legs and promote it and provide the support that makes sure that that content reaches not only students that need it, but also other teachers within their institutions. Number two, all involved in the course are empowered and professionally transformed. And what I mean by this is when you come to the course and after you come to the course, you are empowered to share the content with other teachers, with other students, with your community, and you're professionally transformed by what you're learned. But all involved are professionally transformed and empowered, from the teachers to the trainees, to the NIH faculty who teach the course, to our community partners. It's an empowering and transforming experience. And lastly, but not least, the short course is just the beginning. In order to keep the momentum going and for genomics content to be sustained and for it to grow, you have to have community networks. You have to have community partnerships. And that is integral to making sure that these continue what is the momentum that's begun during the course. And both Chris and Tada will talk about two initiatives that have grown from teachers' experiences during the course.
So before we jump into the short course format, I wanted to give you a little bit of a context of why is it important that genomics finds a space in all classrooms. The National Human Genome Research Institute, where Christina and I work, led the Historic Human Genome Project to produce the first human sequence of the human genome, and this was completed in 2003. In the 15 years plus since the completion of the project, no one could really have predicted the incredible growth in genomic research or that genomics will become part of everyday's life. Today, an astonishing 1 in 25 American adults have access to some personal genetic data. Genomic technologies and research have brought to us things that were once upon a time scientific projects, such as, for instance, real-time portable genome sequencing for Ebola in trafficking in West Africa, clinical trials for treatment of sickle cell disease using CRISPR technology, prenatal cell-free DNA testing for the following of first trimester pregnancies, or genetic screening for a personalized HIV treatment. So also think about these direct-to-consumer companies such as Ancestry.com or 23andMe are bringing every day recreational genetics and genomics to the living rooms of tens of millions of Americans. At the same time, genomic technologies and advancement have introduced ethical, legal, and social conversations and research in the society, in the areas of identity, privacy, and ownership of genomic data, among other topics. Next. The rapid explosion of genomic information is definitely permeating society and transforming our understanding of what DNA is. Think about how many companies, universities, and other organizations have used the slogan, "It is in our DNA," to imply that something is part of their core mission or values. And who can forget the unforgettable lyrics of Lizzo in Truth Hurts? You know how it goes. I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% bad bitch, which has over 150 million views in YouTube since 2017, inspired a brief TikTok DNA challenge, and also went on to win the Best Pop Solo Performance Grammy Award in 2019. Our understanding of our DNA makes us think about ourselves and how others might see us. What is in my DNA? And why does my chin look like my mother's? And what does my DNA say about the thousands of ancestors that came before me? And also, what does my DNA contribute to the way I see myself or others in society treat me? These conversations of what it is and what is not DNA are happening right now in living rooms, pop songs, and also in some classrooms. Next.
So in classrooms, teachers and students alike seek to learn about what they're seeing in the news, what they're experiencing in their daily lives, what they're looking at social media, to what they're taught in school. So you're seeking that information, more information about that. Right now, even in the most well-resourced schools across the nation, cutting-edge technologies like CRISPR, that's mentioned often in the news, gene editing, are currently not integrated into the science curriculum standards. It's even worse for students who attend institutions or schools that are under-resourced, who may be from limited financial backgrounds themselves, or who may be racial ethnic minorities. In addition, many of the students and families face barriers to accessing genetic services and are underrepresented in the biomedical research studies, the genomic studies themselves. There is a glaring lack of diversity in professionals entering the genomic workforce right now, which people are working toward to remedy. But right now, all of this translates into a rapidly growing STEM workforce that is not developing in a balanced and inclusive way for all audiences.
So what can we do to create a space for genomics in all classrooms? And how can we be at the forefront of genomics education for all? So our short course is our example of how we are working at one teacher at a time to bring genomics into all classrooms. The short course is a free 4-day workshop that happens annually, targeting middle school, high school, community college, and tribal college professionals. And it happens every summer in the NIH headquarters in Bethesda, Maryland. It has been running for over 15 years, and just in the 5 last years, it has touched close to 300 educators representing 47 states and territories of the United States. Next.
So as Belen and I have been talking about, the course really tries and really does address the lack of genomics education that's currently existing in schools. Not to say that there's no genomics education existing in schools, but it fills in a lot of the gaps, providing educators with this cutting edge content to improve existing science curriculum standards and inspires the creation of new, not in the textbooks teaching materials. So the course, as Belen was saying, it reaches teachers, reaches educators nationwide with a focus on those teachers who are teaching students that are underrepresented in the STEM workforce. And I think this is a unique thing about the short course. The short course brings in educators who are teaching students as young as middle school, 6th graders, 11-year-olds, way before they enter a 4-year college. So it sort of plants seeds earlier than maybe some other courses do, because kids are becoming more interested in this in genomics at a young age. And in addition, so with all of this said, our hope is that the short course ignites what the teachers present, ignites a student's interest, not just those that are interested in science or the biology students who we think will probably want to go into a STEM career, but also those students who might become future leaders or filmmakers who will receive this information, this genomic science that they didn't know about before. And it might, plant a seed that, maybe there's a potential career in it. Maybe they'd like to incorporate that in their future job. So, it's kind of like the course is the kind of incubator.
I'm gonna use my last 3 slides to briefly introduce you to what I call the 3 pillars of short course, which are stellar faculty, stellar attendees, and stellar content. And if you are an attendee, past or future, or if you're a faculty, is part of our wonderful faculty who has presented over the years in short course, please say something in the chat and share with our audience your experience. The first pillar of short course is our amazing faculty. Attendees. We make an effort on recruiting and also very important, retaining the educators who serve the underserved. These may be teachers from rural communities, or it may be teachers from inner city programs that have high levels of enrollment in free and reduced lunches programs. It could also be students receiving Pell Grant funding or schools who serve very, very diverse communities. We encourage diversity of thought as well by mixing in a purposeful way educators from middle school to college, to community colleges. And I would like to read this quote from Carla Fuller from the City University of New York, who said, "Collaborating with high school and community college instructors has been an excellent professional development opportunity for thinking differently. We foster, encourage, and expect long-term partnerships. For instance, Carla Fuller, Josh Farr, seen in this slide, and other short course alumni, in collaboration with NIH scientist Dr. Sean Conland, are finishing up a microbiome lesson plan that was inspired by lessons taught in short course. The Tribal College Consortium on Genomics Training, which Tada will discuss, also grew from a short course collaboration with tribal colleges in 2016. And sometimes the short course is really a sounding board for other ongoing educational projects. For instance, the series of history and science lesson plans around Henrietta Lacks, which Chris will discuss later. was first piloted with short course teachers. Next. Now let's talk about our faculty. So we started the course bringing in high-level senior intramural NIH investigators from the Institute and from across the NIH, who typically deliver keynote-style lectures. And we went as senior as the director of our institute, Dr. Eric Green, seen here in the larger circle, who has opened the course multiple times. However, as we scale up the course, we have empowered other less traditional professionals to take leadership roles. This could be non-NIH community partners, it could also be short course alumni, or it could be NIH volunteers, who typically are anything from staff scientists to laboratory technicians to even young NIH intramural trainees. These are now taking center roles in teaching the course. We really want to create a civil responsibility mindset for our youngest scientists in particular, because these are the people who are going to move on to be the community leaders from the future. And we really want them to learn from leaders who themselves are focused on using genomics to promote public health and health equality. The interactive format of the course also offers a unique opportunity for scientists and educators to communicate and connect with each other. And this is important because these educators are the ones who are going to be teaching our next generation of scientists, healthcare practitioners, patients, health navigators, and just plain science consumers. Next. And finally, a word about content. The content that teachers receive in the short course is often not found either in textbooks or science standards. These teachers bring back to their communities information, studies, and perspectives that sometimes have not hit the mainstream yet or often. It covers cutting-edge topics such as sequencing technologies, brain and behavior, newborn screening, bioinformatics, CRISPR technologies, the human microbiome, and ethical issues in genomic research. We do not believe in watering down the level of the course. We aim to excite the teachers. They are experienced educators. They know how to translate the information to their respective audiences at the level and needs of their communities. Also very important, we do not limit the course to just didactic lessons. We also offer many interactive opportunities listed here in this slide from top to bottom. We have a NIH zebrafish core tour, a bioinformatics lab, and also hand-on activities that are easy to replicate in classrooms, such as this paper-based CRISPR activity. Participants also have the opportunity to tour the state-of-the-art NIH Intramural Sequencing Center, which allows them to observe firsthand next-generation sequencing technologies. Next.
So here are last year's short course teachers on the bottom. Hello to all the alumni who are watching, and a hello to our 2020 short course teachers, many of whom will be joining us virtually this summer, and some who will be joining us in person next summer. So through the teachers' experiences and knowledge gained from the course, their students coming from all regions, cultures, and backgrounds have a greater opportunity to increase their genomic literacy, which in turn informs their own healthcare decisions and that of their family in the future, as well as their knowledge of potential careers. But equally important or equally of value is the fact that there is a huge benefit to the NIH faculty, our intramural team, our intramural faculty who teach the course. They're educated about the diverse needs of students, of their teachers, of the public, about what's important to them, which informs their own research to ensure that the benefits of their research benefit all of humankind. In reality, the short course is not a one-time engagement. It's 4 days, but it's not a one-time engagement. We often joke with our short course faculty that we refer to it as Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. In keeping up with our Grammy theme, the Eagles won the 1977 Grammy Award for Record of the Year for Hotel California. So Belen and I can go on and on about the short course and how wonderful, what it means to us and what we think we're bringing to teachers and what we hope we're doing to increase and create a space for genomics education in all classrooms. But you really should hear it from the teachers themselves, from their own voices, from their own perspectives, and hear what the short course has done for them. So please watch this nice video that our communications team and features our short course alumni. Please play the video.
The short course in genomics is important to me because it allows me to update myself on the latest research and the latest advances that are happening in genomics, and I can incorporate what's being done in the laboratory right now into my curriculum, into my classroom, to ensure that my students are prepared to work in institutes like this and prepared for the workforce. Because as science is changing, I can read through a textbook, but that information might not be up to date. But coming to courses like this, it allows me to get up-to-date information to share with my students.
I use a lot of the resources from the website. I found it on my own, just kind of looking around, trying to keep up with what's new. And I just happened to see it online and said, why not? So I applied and was thrilled to be accepted.
Coming here, it gives me access as a teacher, and as I learn new information about what's being done, I share that information with my students, and I'm able to inspire them and get them excited about going into these fields, because I work in a highly underserved community with a high population of disadvantaged students and Black and brown students. So I want to give them exposure to opportunities in genomics, opportunities in science.
There's a lot of new things going on, and I want to make sure that my students are getting the correct information and that they're getting what's cutting edge, because I think that's what's going to be interesting for them and hook them to be interested in science.
DNA is something that we all share. It's 99.9% the same in everybody. So regardless of race, socioeconomic status, or any place that we come from, our background, that's something that we share in common. So this molecule is actually something that unifies us.
Anything I want to add about this program? I think that any teacher, any person who touches a student's life should take this, especially a science teacher. If you have the opportunity, there's middle school teachers, there's high school teachers, community college school teachers here. I think that just getting your feet back into science and seeing what's actually at the forefront of what's going on is so important for us to know what's going on in our own fields. I think that the sharing of information between research and classroom is vital. And I think anybody who has their finger on the pulse needs to be here.